Okay, Jinwoo, I see you over there trying to get your workout on. Anyway, what's cracking with you people? Anansi and welcome back to Jade Empire. In the last one, we kicked off our adventure and, beat on a couple of our fellow classmates. And this one, we're going to keep running around and generally talking to people, exploring the world before we get started on the main quest, which is, well, talk to Master Lee.
One day I'll reach your level of skill, but not unless I keep practicing with Smiling Mountain.
Interesting.
It is an honor to be approached by the school's most senior student. My mother had high hopes for the school when she sent me here from the capital. Sometimes I wonder if I'm ready to train with others of such skill. Even in the robes of a junior student, I feel a long way from my home in the Imperial City.
So you're a junior student. That means you're one level below me. Well, you never know. If you are here, you belong here. Why do you doubt yourself? And if you believe that you are inferior, you make it true. If you are too weak to be at this school, leave before you waste our master's time. Wow, some of these responses can be savage. If you are here, you belong here.
You're right. Master Lee would not have accepted me if he did not see potential. He measures all people carefully. I will just have to work twice as hard to catch up to your level of skill. Even then, it will take a long time to be your match. How long have you studied with Master Lee?
I've studied with him as long as I can remember. The only one who has been here almost as long is Dawnstar. Long enough, it's time for me to finish my training and mind your business when I'm not here to discuss my life with you. Oh man. The only one who has been here almost as long is Dawnstar.
She also came here very young, didn't she? The two of you are generally considered the most advanced students here. I'm sorry. I shouldn't pester you with my questions. Is there something you need?
How well do you know the others at this school?
I don't know anyone else who displays the skill you do. Well, perhaps Gao, but he lacks discipline. That is why he still wears the robes of a junior student, despite his ability. Dawnstar would be next, with few able to match her delicate moves. Beyond that, the only other person I know well is Smiling Mountain, the sparring master.
Okay, so interesting. I believe this is the first time that Gao has been brought up in terms of the conversation as being equal to equal to your skill as the player, but because of his temperament, he is held back from being a senior student. Interesting. What do you think of Dawnstar?
I know she is sensitive to things the rest of us can't see. Sometimes I feel sorry for her. It obviously makes her feel different, and that's not right.
Why do you say that?
I think she was given a gift. Unlike responsibility, it may not always be pleasant, but it's something she should be proud of. It shouldn't isolate her.
Okay, not bad. Pretty decent dude. Do you have any impressions of Gao?
I have seen his kind in the city. He thinks his family's wealth is a substitute for nobility and is angered when others still see him for what he is, a crass and spoiled bully.
How has Valley Mountain helped you train?
Well, he doesn't come close to Master Lee's skill, but Smiling Mountain is good for the younger students. He pairs novices with more advanced students so we can learn.
Have you heard anything special about me?
I've heard about and seen your skill, but I haven't been here long enough to know much more. Most of the students seem to appreciate your abilities.
Who doesn't?
I hate to put words in other people's mouths, but it's obvious that Gao does not favor you. Master Lee has been a mediator of sorts, but Gao responds poorly to authority.
Alright, let's go back to my other questions.
I'll answer what I can.
Since you're new, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Master Lee.
He is one man and guides his students well. My last school had two masters who feuded all the time. It made learning very difficult.
What style did you study in the Imperial City?
At the Black Leopard School, I learned the bare basics of a style under First Brother Kai, but not enough to say I'd mastered anything more than a few core techniques. I'd demonstrate, but I don't think I even could. Master Lee's teachings have been so much more effective that I have forgotten most of what I learned in the capital.
How do Master Lee's skills measure up to your teachers in the Imperial City? Especially considering that apparently your school had two teachers that didn't seem to get along. I don't imagine that you learned very much.
He is greatly skilled and tutors his students intently. You especially. My school in the city was mired in politics, not an environment that promotes diligent study.
So basically, you learned precisely jack and all. Feel bad for you, man. Hey, come to the boonies so you can learn something new. Let's go back to my other questions. What do people from the city think of the capital? my bad. What do people from the capital think of the empire?
It's funny, but I still want to look over my shoulder. I have to remember that we are a long way from the ears of the Lotus Assassins.
Why would you be worried about the Lotus Assassins?
They're the Emperor's personal guardians. In the Imperial City, they watch everyone and everything, looking for those who would question the course of the Empire.
Why are people questioning the direction the empire is taking?
The Lotus Assassins visit people who ask a lot of questions. The Emperor hasn't been seen much recently. His advisors run things. They're not gentle.
An absentee ruler, huh? Well, that can only mean so many good things. Do you know anything about rumors of ghosts?
There's already enough darkness without making up stories about shadows, in my opinion. And try Lynn. She seems very interested in the ghosts.
Well, I've already talked to Lynn. What can you tell me about places other than here?
I'm no map maker, but I know the basics of the way the Empire is laid out. What do you want to know?
Tell me about the Imperial City.
It was a beautiful place to grow up. The brightest minds, the most noble houses, all the greatest warriors gather there. It's truly the most vibrant place in the world.
It sounds like you miss it.
I'm glad to be here, don't get me wrong. Two Rivers, though, is very peaceful. I'm used to a more hectic pace, I think. It's taking me some time to adjust.
A classic story of the city folk trying to get used to country life. Who hasn't been there, am I right, guys? How do you like this area?
Two Rivers is quiet, subdued. This province has a lot of rich agricultural land. Actually, fields cover pretty much everything south of the Great Southern Forest.
What do people from the city tend to think of this area?
They consider farmers uneducated rustics, though they'd use less polite terms. They'd change their tune if they could see such a skilled tutor as Master Lee out here.
Interesting. Let's hear about the rest of the empire.
The empire is divided into 4 massive provinces. This area, largely agricultural, is the Golden Delta. To the north lies the Seat of Heaven, which holds the Imperial City. In the prosperous east, you can find port cities like the Phoenix Gate. To the west lie the hills of the 6 Holy Scrolls. I know little about those 2 provinces, though.
I wonder if side note here, but I wonder if when BioWare was designing writing dialogue for this particular entry, did they take the naming conventions from how they named the Forbidden City in Imperial China, or was that literally how certain areas of ancient China were described? Because make no mistake, this is very clearly based on China. I'm not really sure. I like to look into that if I can. Let's go back to my other questions. Let's see here. You're fairly new here. Tell me some more about yourself.
I'm honored that you should ask. What do you want to know?
What brought you to the school?
The school I attended in the Imperial City was becoming mired in politics, so my mother sent me out to the country instead. Politics is dangerous, she always said.
Your mother sounds smart. What sorts of dangers would the Imperial City have?
Oh, I don't know. It just seems like the city is changing. Strange people, strange machines. These are interesting times. I think she just wanted to know that I'd be safe.
I can understand that. My mom's about the same way. What will you do when you are done training here?
Well, that won't be for a long time, but I'll probably return to the Imperial City. Perhaps I'll join the Imperial Guard. It's hard to think that far ahead.
Classic questions, am I right? You go to college, think, okay, well, what am I going to do when I get out of here? I don't know, I'll figure out when it's time to go. That time was around, what am I going to do? Let's go back to my other question.
I'll answer.
Let's see, got anything else? No, take care. I'll talk to you later.
Goodbye. Take care of yourself.
All right, then. Well, let's go ahead and look around a little bit more. This book stand here. What do we got? The Old Tongue, Volume 1. Tho Fan. or the Old Tongue, was the native language of one of many kingdoms struggling for supremacy before the empire was unified by sagacious Tien, our first emperor. As the wars raged, constant shifts in territorial leadership spread the use of the Old Tongue. By the time sagacious Tien formed the empire, the Old Tongue was so widely spread that it became a second official language of the Jade Empire. So basically what this is saying is that much like a lot of other RPGs that go above and beyond and try to have an actual a language that is unique to its world while simultaneously having an English or whatever native language they choose to localize the game in. This is a way of explaining what it is. Like in the Old Republic, they had like 4 or 5 different ones. Though they cleverly did the thing where it's like they didn't have like full blown sentences alphabetical. For the most part, they just kind of repeated certain phrases over and over again. And if you played Natural Republic and Natural Republic 2, you'd notice it very fast. I forget what the Old Tongue sounds like in Jade Empire. It's been that long, but people do speak it. Make no mistake. But I do not believe it's actual Chinese. 2 more experience.
Typical.
Interesting. So this is the infamous Gao the Lesser.
Oh, you're finally here to talk to Master Li, are you? I certainly hope so. The old man is in there meditating, and he won't train me until he talks to you.
Huh. You disrespect our master by calling him that.
What? The old man? That's what he is. Young men don't get mired in foolish beliefs like the belief that your training is more important than everyone else's. If anything, you disrespect this school by monopolizing so much of the master's attention.
So I go, what did I do to earn this belligerence? Or think carefully about how you value your arms before you speak that way again. I'm not a big fan of bullies from my time growing up, so let's run his fate a little bit. Let me get my voice right for this one. Think carefully about how you my bad. Let's try that one more time. Think carefully about how much you value your arms before you speak that way again.
I've heard worse threats from children. I know you'd never start anything without the old man's permission. You wouldn't dare risk your status as exemplar to us all.
No, I want to dishonor myself by beating a dog.
When did your tongue develop such barbs? Be careful lashing it around like that. Someone might tear it out for you. Master Li wants to talk to you. Do me a favor and go talk to him. Then maybe I can actually receive some education at this school.
I have to wonder, if Gao the Lesser is from a prestigious family, then why in the world is he here in the boondocks? We'll have to see. Anyway, the Long Drought. The Long Drought stands as one of the worst periods in the Jade Empire's recent history. 10 years of scorching heat and little rainfall took their toll on even the prodigious reserves of the Empire's granaries. The sages predicted at least 3 more devastatingly dry years, while those in the Ministry of Harmony watched the death toll mount into the hundreds of thousands. Then Emperor Sun Hai declared that the drought was over, and somehow it was. Through the Emperor's divine will, green returned to our parched land and stability was restored. Sun Hai. That's interesting. So apparently the big devastating backstory of Jade Empire is that at one point there was this devastating drought. Monkey.
Oh, senior student. Not too many people come back here this time of day, so we thought we'd take a moment to practice. Would you like to join us? We could team up against you and learn from the best.
Why the unfair odds?
With all due respect, we would be no challenge for you individually. We could learn much from seeing how you deal with more than one opponent. Smiling Mountain usually lets us fight in groups if he has enough students available. But learning from you is a chance I wouldn't want to pass up. If you have time, that is. I would not wish to impose.
I like how everyone's so respectful, but, you know, yeah, let's get to it. Could I spare a moment? I could spare a moment or two, certainly.
This is good news. We'll try to go easy on you.
Legendary strike. Yeah.
Oh, she's good. There we go.
That's enough. I didn't think we'd win, but it was an honor to face you. Thank you very much. We have to go. Smiling Mountain's going to be teaching a class soon, and then we have weapons training.
Interesting. At the very least, they learned. Very least, I got to help out my fellow students a bit. What's this? Tomb. This grave appears to be dedicated to the old master, a former instructor at the school. It is a humble tribute, not even bearing his name. A small bowl sits beneath the stylized image of a lion, ready to accept offerings of silver to speed the spirit of the departed to his rest. You have no silver, leave it as it is. I'm broke. You leave this modest grave undisturbed. Oh, very interesting. So we're going to get some silver at some point. So, take another look around. So we're just going to do a little bit more exploring at the moment, because there are some things that we do want to take a look at before we really get into it. Now, these little bamboo casks here, some of these are going to become important later in the game. They're more than just set dressing. Some of them are your treasure chests. Some of them do other special effects that we'll get into when we get into. Oh, I meant to bring this up. We'll do it in a second here. Let's see. Let's go down here a little bit. Go around back here. Interesting. Boy, girl.
Uso siir uthak tarawair shathir owosu.
If we keep this place safe, Dawnstar will pay us with sweets when she gets back. Huh, interesting. So Dawnstar seems like a nice person. Girl.
Dawnstar's garden is peaceful, even when she's not here.
So Dawnstar isn't here at the moment. That's unfortunate. Also, that boy was speaking in the old tongue, and honestly, it sounds a lot, and I mean a lot, like the made-up language for the GameCube Star Fox Adventures for the dinosaur language. So it's interesting about that. Scroll stand. The inner self. The great wheel of life turns eternal, bringing one through life into death, then back around again into life. Though the new life is always different, the core essence, the spirit of a person, remains the same. This spirit, breathed into each person, is eternal. To achieve harmony with the universe, one must perfect their harmony with the spirit. Indeed, the spirit in each individual is a reflection of that greater universe. It is a reflection of the wheel of life and the great dragon that created it. There's that great dragon again. Now, these here are your spirit fonts, and if you look over over there, there's another one kind of like it. What this one does, if you walk up to it, it will repair. The shrine helps you focus on your inner voice. Your chi and health are replenished. These spirit fonts give you a full heal and a full magic restore. Over here is a focus shrine. This restores your focus. Now, one thing I'm about to bring up the focus that if you press Y when you're not in combat, it allows you to it actually engages your fast travel mode. It allows you to move faster in the world than you do normally. I don't always use it, but well, I take it back. Later on in the game, I do end up using it quite a bit, but well, that's just because it's more convenient to use. But I only recommend using it if you understand your way throughout the map. Each space you go to. Focus Shrine. You meditate and restore your focus. All the Focus Shrine does is restore your focus. That is it. Oh, student C-Pact.
Greetings, fellow student. The gate is closed for now, and I am tasked with keeping it so. Master Lee has asked that no students leave the school until the morning meditations are concluded.
Could I ask some questions?
Please do not. This is the first task I have been given, and I don't want to get distracted.
Guarding the school gate doesn't seem like a complicated job.
I am dedicated to even humbling tasks, but I agree. Guarding the school entrance is more to keep me busy than a necessity, I think. Perhaps my vigilance will show Master Li that I am a worthy student. He has delayed my training because of some pressing matter.
Alright, goodbye.
Master Li was looking to speak with you, wasn't he? After he left me here, he went back to his house in the center of the school, if you're looking for him.
Alright then, well, I guess that's about all we can do for right now. I want to go back and talk to Smiling Mountain, because if I remember correctly, either now or at a later point, we get to open up. We get the option of fighting multiple students. I wanted to make sure that I was at the right point first.
What can I do for you? I am here to serve and train.
Okay. Are those student skills?
There are a few, but not enough for me to set up some of the more challenging matches that I'm sure you would prefer. There will be more students available later in the day when many of their exercises have concluded.
Okay, perhaps another time. So for right now, we're pretty much done. Gal the Lesser is right here. He won't talk to us anymore unless we let me double check that.
I have nothing to say to a dog bounding after its master. Go bother someone else.
Interesting. Okay, well, let's get to it.
Ah, there you are, my student. I watched your bout against Jingwu with great pride. You have gained almost all you can from the practice arena. You are my best pupil, though you came to me an orphan. I have tried to prepare you for the responsibility your skills will bring. Have you given thought to your future?
So we have a couple. I'm sure you would tell me what I need to know, Master, or perhaps I will train others as you have trained me, or I long to leave this tiny place. I am meant for great things. We could be arrogant brat, we could be, I don't know that, or we can be just this kind of neutral thing. Honestly, I think right now, as someone who's pretty much been here, I think this would be a better option. Perhaps I will train others as you have trained me.
Your lessons are complete. Remember these basic skills and keep them at heart. But also remember that classes are not a true measure of ability. Always be ready to learn. I recall that, as a child, you fell and bruised your arm. I comforted you, saying that small pains are part of learning, but not every setback imparts wisdom. You must be careful. Sometimes all you learn in defeat is that you have been defeated. This world is out of balance. Spirits grow restless, and you have a role to play that I have kept secret.
Why would you do that?
Those who announce their important destiny before they are ready tend to meet unfortunate ends. The wise only seek attention when capable of dealing with it. The people are scared. I do not have all the answers, but I know you will become very important to the fates of many. You will be called to face a great evil.
Master! Master Li!
What is this interruption? This had better be important. There is much to say.
Master! Nijo came to warn me. He saw a boat from the outlook past the fields. Strange outlaws. They fired something at him, and Qiamin was injured.
Where is she now?
Still outside the village by the outlook. Nijo couldn't carry her. Please come, Master Li. The bandits are not at the village yet, but they could arrive at any time.
We will have to continue our discussion later, my student. It appears we have more pressing matters.
Now it could be gung-ho, or gung-ho like, I will fight them, let me come with you, or what would you have me do, Master? Which would be a better one, because I like to play my RPGs like I'm playing a Jedi. I think this would be a better one for a pupil. What would you have me do?
The time for practice is over. Go to Gujin, the weapon master, and get a weapon. You may soon be called to use it. On your way, make certain Dawnstar is aware of the danger. Her skills have always complemented yours, so take her with you. Prepare yourself for a potential attack while I tend to my fallen student. I will return as soon as I can. We will continue our discussion when the threat is over.
Where can I find Dawnstar and Gujin?
Dawnstar will be near her garden at the entrance to the school. Gujin will be in his shop near the village gate, up the stairs from the village square.
I will do as you ask.
Good. The time comes when you will know all you need to. For now, keep the basics at heart.
Alright, switch the mini-map on and off by pressing the X button. Press Y on the map screen in the start menu for an explanation of map symbols. So we can expand it like this, pressing X, we can turn it off, we can do it like this. I always try to keep the map at a manageable size when I play these games. Now we go into here and get the right triggers with the journal. Oh wait, the Master's teaching. Okay, Master Lee was about to tell you something important, but word of a student injured by bandits interrupted your conversation. With no other town near, it seems likely Two Rivers is their destination. Now find Dawnstar. Master Lee asked you to find Dawnstar, a childhood friend and a fellow student. She should be in her garden on the way to town. Now you have your quests and whatnot. I think on the right is your sub-quest and your left is your main quest with a vague overview of what to do. Your map screen, where's the map screen? Here it is. North. Okay. So if you hit the legend here, you have your point of interest, your exit, your player character, your store, your base camp, your plot giver, and your shrine. Your shrines are basically like your spirit font or your focus font. It doesn't tell you specifically what it is, but there it is. But it tells you where it is. There's your store, your base camp, all this other stuff. So, be interesting. We have a couple of plot givers actually. So we got about. Do you guys starring error? Wait, what? Oh, those are point of interest. My bad. Okay. And now I gotta fix them here, and then we'll cut back in a second. All right. Then now before we do anything else, let's go ahead and look around the master's room. Lion statue. A statue of a lion stands behind an altar. It is marked as a training aid designed by a previous master of the school. There is a crystal spear in the lion's paw. Approach the altar. The altar is less ornate than the statue and lacks a sense of permanence. Something activates as you approach. The spear in the lion's paw begins to glow with a blue light. Leave the altar for right now. Now, it gives you option to destroy the statue, but let's not do that right now, because if you do that, it's going to mess you up in the long run. Let's see, what's this? Chest. Red lion figurine and a yellow lion figurine. Okay, well, let's go ahead and use these lion figurines real fast. There's a crystal in the lion's paw. Examine the markings on the lion. The altar and statue serve to show students a real example of lessons otherwise presented abstractly in class. It has not seen use in some time. The altar is less ornate than the statue and was replaced many times after frustrated and deliberate outbursts from students, but that too is part of the exercise. There is mention of greater reward for the more investigative path, but that was probably an additional element of the test performed by the master who placed it. You cannot recall Master Lee ever referring to the statue. Different masters prefer different methods of teaching. The altar. Okay, so we got this. Okay, so let's place the red figurine on the altar. The spear glows. The spear grows dim. Let's place the yellow figurine on the altar. Nothing happens. Okay, let's place the blue figurine on the altar. Nothing happens. Let's remove the figurines. Place the blue figurine on the altar. Okay, the spear changes color to red. Okay, so we placed the blue one when it was blue and it turned to red. Let's place the red figurine on the altar. The sphere changes color again, glowing with a yellow light. Okay, let's place the yellow figure on the altar. Judas places a silver coin, and an unfamiliar voice begins to emit from the lion.
The obvious path is humble, safe, but pays the wage of a cook, not a champion.
Leave. You collect the figurines and step away. We got 1 silver and 1 experience. and someone telling us the obvious path pays the way for Cook, but not the champion. I wonder what he meant by that. Since this entire thing is marred in philosophy, I can only assume that he's referring to the fact that since it was a simple test, you only get a simple reward. Now this is now it would end there if we hadn't gone behind the school. If you hit behind the school here, remember we found a humble tomb of a lying head, but we had no silver to give it. Let's give it the silver we got from the statue. Let's place a silver coin in the bowl. The coin disappears through a thin slot in the bottom of the bowl. There is an audible clicking sound. The lion image detaches from the gravestone. It appears to have little value. Get a lion head token. Now let's head back down to that altar and see if we can't find out more to this riddle. Okay. Alright, lion statue. Time for round 2. A statue of a lion stands behind an altar. Well, okay, we got this. Let's approach the altar. There is an indentation in the statue's mouth reminding you of another shape you saw recently. Let's place the token from the old master's grave in the lion's mouth. Something changes inside the statue. The sphere glows green. Okay, well, if the previous test was just as matching colors, this seems to be basic color theory. So let's place the blue figurine on the altar. Nothing happens. Let's place the yellow figurine on the altar. The sphere changes color, taking an orange hue. Okay. Let's remove the blue figurine from the altar and place the red one. The figure changes color and becomes purple. Okay, let's remove the yellow figurine and place the blue one. The statue erupts in a loud burst of energy. Clearly you have done something momentous. You feel different.
Examine your world from all angles, and you will see the interconnectedness of all things. Even that which is humble can be the key to greater things.
Okay, let's leave. You are finished with the statue, so you leave the figurines on the altar. You lost the lion head, the figurine, and all the figurines, but you gained the gaze of the lion. Now, let's go into styles. No. We're going to go to character info. We're going to go to techniques. Gaze of the lion. A masterful hunter, the lion must always be aware of the totality of its domain and be ready to protect it. You feel a kinship with the mighty predator after solving the riddle left by the old master of Two Rivers. This is what I mean by, last episode when I said you wanted to gain these techniques. We now have +2 focus and +2 health before we get into our first real fight, just by doing this. Then next time we're going to continue onwards into the story. I've been Anansi, you've been awesome, and I'll catch you later. Now, what happens if you destroy the sphere before doing the challenge? Destroy the altar. There is a small bag of coins in the rubble. An unfamiliar voice begins to emanate from the lion.
Rash action will reveal much about the task and the man. Reward may be immediate, but there is no going back.
For that, we gained 25 silver coins. Quick and easy, but we are now locked out of gaining the extra technique, the gaze of the lion. This is what I mean by this game is pretty good for BioWare's, I think, second run at a really serious RPG. There are times where you can take a quick and immediate solution to a problem and gain an immediate reward, but in the long term, you probably just screwed yourself. Yeah, we gained 25 silver now, but we lost access to stats that could have saved us at a later point in the game. something to keep in mind when you make your decisions, such as the way of the open palm and the closed fist.